Let's stay with Jeffrey and find out what fans out there want to ask us about the show.
You keep cutting to me as I conveniently take a bite out of the spicy chicken sandwich, and that's fine, whoever's doing that.
It's me.
All right, so I have a great question for the hosts. I love this question. This was asked by Fort Charger on our YouTube live stream right now. So obviously in this episode, we're sort of seeing like everyone kind of hide in the crypts. This person asked, can the Night King revive the dead Starks in the crypt?
That was the thing. I swear, that was the thing I was going to talk about. So, that's the theory. I swear, I wouldn't lie.
No, I don't think you do. I just think like it's in the air.
This is a very popular theory. It tied back to the Varys, will he live, will he die? So, basically, we don't necessarily know the statute of limitations on when the Night King can bring people back from the dead.
How convenient.
It's been very heavily emphasized that, people are going to stay safe in the crypts of Winterfell, which we know house the bones of all of the dead Starks, including Ned Stark, I believe, made it back there. And so I fully believe now that when the Night King comes back, even in like the tease for next week's episode, Daenerys says the dead are already here. And what they think is going to happen is the Night King is going to screw with their entire plan and reanimate all the dead Starks that are housed in the crypts beneath Winterfell and basically attack them from the inside out. And I'm fully convinced this will happen.
So I think that's right, and it is a huge bummer.
And everyone's going to die!
Well, no, except what you
Baby
forget
son.
is that all the Starks are more or less dumb and useless. So as they were like,
what a great point.
they were very dumb and useless and foolhardy and trustworthy. So they could just build like a big hole, and all the Starks would be like, "Hey, I'm reanimated, and I fell in this hole," and they'll be fine because the history of the Starks, except for the ladies and Jon Snow, who's barely a Stark now. They're fine, but like all the dumb Starks have been dumb since been dead since season
literally
3.
all the dumb Starks were Ned
I would also
and
argue
Robb
John's a little
and,
dumb too.
John's a little dumb, and then the Rickard was just.
Rickon?
Yeah, you're.
Okay,
he
you guys
didn't
can
run
argue
into
over
Serpentine?
that.
Okay.
Give us another question, Jeffrey.
Great. Okay, so Shadow's Edge on our Twitter live stream asked, do you think Dany will hesitate when she sees her Night King dragon?
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh,
I think
probably.
no, because she had zero reaction to Bran being like, hey, by the way, like your child is with the Night King and reanimated and a dragon. But yeah, maybe.
I feel like, yeah, I think she will. The only thing she loves more than her ego is her dragons.
The shade, it's strong. I'm curious to see if Bran can warg into either a dragon or an ice dragon. Like, I don't think, we've never necessarily had him try his abilities to warg into something that is dead that might have a negative impact on him, but he could maybe like warg into a dragon or something.
What if he wargs into some
We need like a
dead
tight
thing.
zoom
I know.
in. On,
Wargs into some dead thing. And then I feel like, what if there's some weird like cyclical thing where he ends up getting the dragon glass through him at the tree?
Ooh, well, that would tie back to the very popular theory that Isaac Hempstead Wright, the actor who plays Bran, hates, which is that Bran is the Night King.
Which I'm not saying, even though that's something that I said a lot, because I think it's been pretty clear that that's like probably not going to happen. But I think that would be interesting if there's some weird, like if he wargs into reanimated things, then like there's some consequence. And
I know we've made it a joke that I love Bran so much, but I think like the range of things his character can do is really interesting, and there's a lot.
Wait, did you just say Bran and interesting in the same sentence?
Yeah, Bran's probably gonna warg into Sam. That's the meanest thing I've said.
It's just like, okay. Jeffrey, do you have any more questions for us?
Yes, sorry. I do. There's one that a lot of people keep asking, so I'm just going to throw it out here. Cyborg Man on Twitter asked, where is Lord Varys anyway?
Just in general, this episode?
Didn't we? I thought we saw him during Jaime's trial, didn't we?
Yeah, he's
For a
around.
second.
It's weird that like you'd think he would be the type who would come to drink. But we do see him
Even
in
to just bum that party out.
I don't know. Varys is a good time.
Sure,
he's like he's pretty rowdy.
He's kind of gossipy.
He's still in Winterfell.
I've heard that about him.
We see a scene from like the preview for the next week's episode where he's down in the crypts with like Gilly and baby Sam. So he's still there, but I guess I don't know.
My
Oh God! If we get a Gilly Varys scene, I will enjoy that.
I will die of like awkward, like secondhand awkwardness. So it's weird that my initial reaction to that question was like, well, obviously he like fast traveled back to Cersei.
Yeah, just to check in.
I'm just like so used to him just traveling all over with no consequence of time, but that's fine. Okay, so one more question, Jeffrey. Choose a good one.
Okay, well, that's a lot of pressure now.
They
all
have
right.
been great.
Yeah, they have been good questions.
Great question here from ELM on Twitter live stream. Who do you think is the weapon that Arya made? Who do you think is that meant for? The dragon, the Night King?
It's interesting that she had the weapon made but didn't know anything about the White Walkers, right?
That's a good point,
Like
yeah.
she's like asking Gendry. I think she made it because we watched her painfully train with a pole with the waif for seasons, and so this is like a weapon. She already has needle, she already has a Valyrian steel dagger, and this is a weapon that she's really equipped to fight. I feel like it's
Do you
for the Night
think
King.
then that means that I don't necessarily think this because I think it'd be weird for them to call back on it a second time, but her being blind, like is there going to be some like darkness situation where she has the upper hand?
So I'm sorry, for people who like don't want to, hopefully you all want to discuss Game of Thrones and what's happening because you're here for a watch party after show. But I do keep pointing back to the preview for next week's episode. And one shot that we do see that was in an earlier trailer too is her like running through what looks like it could be the crypts or something inside that is really dark. And I think you're right. I think that like that, her heightened senses that she's honed that's a really good point. Sydney?
I think, 4 White Walkers are just going to get their heads knocked off.
Yeah, maybe she won't kill the Night King, but she'll take out some good White Walkers along the way.
Take that former, baby.